Hello, I'm Gary Slyman, President Founder of Great Transition Strategies. Today's topic, 5 areas that you need to nail down in your career transition. When you're doing your search for what's next, these are 5 areas you need to absolutely nail down. The data on this is coming from Gallup and their workplace well-being. All right, first I'm going to just go through the 5 areas and then we'll dig into each one of them. Number 1, expectations. You need to be clear on what your expectations are going to be. You're going to be surprised at how difficult that is. Strengths. Are you going to be able to utilize your strengths? 3, in that new position, how are you going to be developed? Number 4, is your voice going to be heard? Number 5, does the mission and purpose of the organization align with your personal mission and purpose, and how well? Expectations. 50% of the workforce out there today believes that they have clear expectations of their job, that it matches their job description. When you're looking at a work posting of this is a job description, chances are that's not wholly accurate. So in your information meetings, when you're learning, when you're interviewing, when you're visiting organizations, how are you going to get that data? What are you going to do to ensure that you get the data you need to know what your expectations are? Questions. What's success look like? How do people get promoted? What are the weekly, monthly, quarterly reports that I have to have? All those things are extremely important. All right, so how do you make that happen? Okay, number 2, strengths. 1/3, 30% of people believe that their strengths are used every single day at work. How do you know your strengths are going to be used? Number 1, you need to know what your strengths are. What are they? What are you doing to find your strengths? There's a strength finder, clearly one that comes to mind. Gallup, imagine that. All right, so strength finder, which I use with clients all the time, and it is very, very useful to use. What are other strengths you can use? Character strengths, those kind of things. What are my skills? What do I really like to do? Again, taking in information meetings. You know what your strengths are, so you could ask pointed questions about your strengths. Tell me about how I'm going to be able to be an individual contributor here. Tell me about how I can use my strengths with, maybe not using those words, my strength, how I'm using my program management skills. You want to find out, you want to ask those questions so you know if you're going to be able to line up and use your strengths on a regular basis, and how often. Development. For millennials, this is one of the most important areas, and I've talked about this in other videos. Some folks aren't really so much concerned about promotion, but they're very concerned about their development. Who in the organization is going to be caring about you and your development? I coach for organizations that have individuals, high performers, have a coach assigned to them, they have a sponsor assigned to them, and they have a mentor. That is all about your development. What are they going to do for you? What availability do you have to take courses, get certifications, to grow? Do you get a coach? Do you get a sponsor? Do you get a mentor to help you grow? Your growth is going to be extremely important to you and help you figure out, hey, this is a place for me and I know I can go places. Next, is your voice going to be heard? Who is it going to be heard by, and how often? How high up in the organization? How often are you going to be able to talk with who's reporting on you? How often are you going to be able to speak your mind? What kind of formats? Is your voice going to be heard? Extremely important to individuals. Only about 25% of people believe that their voice is actually heard on a regular basis. If you can nail that down, think what that's going to do for you. Last one. You have a mission and purpose. You know what it is. How closely does your mission and purpose align with that of the organization? When I work with individuals, I work with their values. What are your values? And then we look at organizations, and when they look at organizations, they figure out how well their values align with that organization. What impact would that have if your values could be fulfilled, your top 5 values could be fulfilled every day in the position where you work? I bet you it would have a huge impact. So look at those 5 things. If you nail these things down, you're going to be well ahead of your peers. Clear expectations. Do you know what your expectations are or what you're going to be evaluated on? Can you work within your strengths? Who's going to develop you? Who's paying attention to your development? Who cares about you? Is your voice going to be heard? And are your values aligned with this organization? Thanks for listening. I'd welcome the opportunity to work with you to help you through whatever transition you're making to make sure these are all aligned and you could have a great transition.